A friend recently referred to the 9 to 5 as an addiction, and I think I do agree with him. There's always been a debate about taking the 9 to 5 versus creating your own path, whatever that may look like. And I feel like this debate has heated up even further with the advancement of technology and the access to resources and knowledge that make other paths more accessible than it ever used to be. I'm going to cover 5 ideas that you can start working on right away after watching this video if you wish to. And while I'm talking about them, I'm going to be rating them based on the difficulty of starting and maintaining that specific side hustle. Let's get into it. Number 1 is building an audience through creating valuable content that may look like a newsletter, a YouTube, a podcast. You're actually looking at one of them right now. This is what a lot of people are doing these days. And in fact, Goldman Sachs predicts that the creator economy is worth $250 billion and could grow at a 14% cumulative growth rate between the years of 2022 to 2027, reaching $480 billion by 2027. The summary of this point is that you start offering valuable knowledge in an engaging way, and if you are consistent enough and you play the game right, then you'll be off to a great path of building an audience. And if you haven't been living under a rock, you probably know that building an audience, having an engaged audience, is one of the most important assets of today's world. The great thing about this one is that it starts generating inbound opportunities that you thought didn't even exist. And I have plenty of examples that can be a proof of this one. What will you share is the big question when it comes to creating content. And the answer is either something that you're particularly good at, it's your field of expertise, you've had years of experience, or you have a competitive advantage, a slight edge in that particular subject, or it is a subject that you are in the process of learning. There are a variety of examples here, and I'll share some of them right now. I personally started building an audience through sharing my marketing and career related experiences. So this was a professional knowledge that I already had, but some people choose to learn about something in the process and experiment with it and share their learnings along the way. Here are 2 great examples to this one. One of them is called First 1000. This is a Substack newsletter that Ali started while working as a product manager at Duolingo. He researches and writes a case study on how a tech company got its first 1,000 users. So every single issue of his newsletter is a lot of research that he does in the past week. He goes through many hours of research and then he writes his findings in that issue of his newsletter. Second example is Justin Welsh, someone that I take a lot of inspiration from personally, especially because we have a very similar approach on work-life balance and preferences. 3 years ago, he started writing on LinkedIn and started to build his audience over there, then carried over that audience to Twitter. And nowadays he crossed $3 million in revenue as a solopreneur. His story is definitely one to take a lot of inspiration from. So search for his name and look up his story because I think it's a great example. Revenue model is through ads, brand sponsorships, speaking engagements, selling digital products, or other inbound requests that might overlap with some of the other following side hustles that I'm going to be mentioning in a minute. The difficulty level, starting, I give this a 1 out of 5 because it's relatively easy given that you already have some sort of knowledge to start talking about or start sharing valuable content about. So starting is easy. Access to social media accounts or newsletter tools is free at this point. So that's 1. Maintaining, I give this one a 3 out of 5 because you have to be consistent to actually have this side hustle work for you in the long run. So consistency is something I personally struggle with given that I do have a full-time job and I do have other priorities in life. So 3 out of 5 for that one. Number 2 is community building and subscription models. Community building starts with building an audience or a network of people. So I feel like there is some overlap between number 1 and 2. People come together around a shared value, and this happens once you start to generate attention through content. Once you're able to create a community of people, for example, I have a Discord community of 600 plus marketers, which is not really active, but if it was, then I could have easily turned it into a gated community if I was providing exclusive content for that specific community. Charging for a community subscription can happen in many ways. I've seen this happen through Patreon, Patreon, Circle, or even NFTs. NFTs are practically communities that you get access through purchasing a token. It is typically a one-time payment for the token versus a subscription model that is more typical on Patreon or Circle. Difficulty level, I gave this one 2 out of 5 for starting, because you do need more knowledge and more tools to start off and hit the ground running to actually have a community. And then for maintenance, I gave this 4 out of 5 because I personally feel that running an engaged community requires your full-time involvement. It's less of a passive side hustle and more of an active one that requires your involvement day to day in making sure that your community members are happy, engaged, and that you are keeping the retention going on as well. Third side hustle is offering consultancy. This is one of the most common side hustles that people start and is very doable alongside your full-time job if that is the scenario that you are in. Once you know what kind of services you can offer, you can tap into your networks to let them know about your offer and start sharing that you're open for consulting on your website and social media as well. One of my first side gigs was consultancy, and it definitely taught me a lot because you get to learn how to manage the entire workflow from getting clients, doing outbound outreach, to invoicing, making sure they're happy, making sure that you're part of every single process, every single step along the way. A few ways that you can get the word out about your consulting offers is to get your social profiles up to date, your website up to date, reaching out to people in your network, letting them know, asking for referrals if they've already worked with you in the past, creating content which will drive leads to the offers that you have. And number 4 is making people aware about your offer in the communities that you are a part of. So an example is in 2018, I was working at a WeWork, a co-working office, if you don't know. And I remember sending a note in the WeWork community Slack channel, I think, to share that I was accepting new clients, and 2 clients had actually signed up very shortly. Difficulty level, I gave this 1 out of 5, again, because if you already have the knowledge to share, to offer that service, then it should be relatively easy to start it. And then maintaining, I gave this 2 out of 5 because you can easily manage this and be flexible with your time slots that you offer consulting services in. So this is relatively easy to maintain. Number 4 is freelance services. Upwork, Fiverr, and the likes have helped freelancing scale significantly, and it became easier for people to offer services online. Website development and design, copywriting, design services, SEO, video editing, these are some of the most common freelancing offers that come to mind immediately. The path to offering freelance services could be through freelancing sites, but also through people in your network as well, including friends and family, online communities, and even Facebook groups. I see a lot of offers on Facebook groups like these as well. Difficulty level, I'm giving it 1 out of 5. It's very similar to consulting offers in my opinion when it comes to starting. And then again, maintaining 2 out of 5 because you can again be very flexible with your time schedules, when you choose to complete the projects that you take on as a freelancer. So pretty easy to maintain. Number 5 is digital products, and this has to be one of my favorites because of its closeness to being as passive as it gets in terms of an income stream. You create the product once, and if you've been able to create a consistent stream of attention through content like this one that you're watching right now, then it becomes a great source of income that requires little to zero attention from your end. Some examples to digital products can be ebooks, guides, templates, online courses, or downloadable assets. I personally love templates and I use them all the time. There's so many use cases that I bring up my templates in, and I've created hundreds of unique templates over the past decade of being a marketer for my day-to-day job, for my consulting business, for my time as a creator. And some of those templates I found to be really helpful for other people as well. And so I made some of them publicly available at a really little cost, basically. An example is my marketing hub and my marketer's toolkit, which is a set of really useful templates for marketers that I put as products on Gumroad. So they are basically templates and resources that I created in Notion. I put them into hubs. I do keep them up to date. And that's the beauty of having, I guess, templates in Notion, because I can keep updating the products and resources that I've created for others. And basically, once someone purchases the product over on Gumroad, they get access to this hub in Notion, and any resources or templates that are in that kit, they get access to it. I also have an online self-paced course called Break Into Marketing, where I shared my entire knowledge on breaking into the marketing space and getting a job as a marketer. Justin Welsh, again, I'm gonna go back to my favorite example here, has a LinkedIn operating system which has sold thousands of copies. Another example is Jeff Su, a productivity and tech YouTuber, also a Google employee, who has a variety of templates related to career development. And I've seen that he has also sold thousands of copies of his templates on Gumroad as well. So difficulty level, I gave this one 2 to 3 out of 5, because you do need to have that knowledge to be able to actually convert this into a product, whether it's a template or an online course. So I think it's rather more difficult than starting to create content. You really have to put in the expertise into the product. Maintenance though is 1 out of 5, which is what makes this a chef's kiss in my opinion. Absolutely love it, highly recommend. And that's a wrap on the 5 side hustles that I wanted to share. If you enjoy these types of videos, let me know in the comments, and subscribe to the channel for more content that is coming up in this niche. Currently, I'm trying to make my one-person creator business work alongside my full-time, very intense day job as a director of marketing at AVC. Also, side note, the next video will cover 4 questions that you absolutely need to ask yourself to make these side hustles work for you. Most people typically skip asking these questions to themselves, and they get off on a wrong start. So if you want to get it right, stay tuned and subscribe to the channel to get notified when that video is live on the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.